Hi, Kriegsspielers. It's umpire LaFondios. We're going to walk through the after-action review for the Saturday live game that was called The Solution to Problem 74. I was proud to be the lead umpire for the game. The general idea for the game was that there was a red northern force that needed to get to the south to reinforce a red army that was in the south. There was a blue northern command that wanted to stop that force from getting there. The place the blue force had chosen was near the town of Karsdorf, which was on one of our standard Kriegsspiel maps. And the red arrow that you see there was the route that red force was going to travel. So the blue force had as its specific idea to come down from the northwest and to cut that road in one of many places. It could choose where it was going to cut that road. It was specifically a corps in size, with 3 divisions of infantry, 1 division of cavalry, and 10 batteries of artillery. The specific idea for the red was to stop the blue force from doing that. The red force was a little bit different. It was broken into 2 divisions and had 2 different divisional commanders. Each of those divisions were smaller. The first division had 2 brigades and 4 artillery batteries with a small cavalry contingent. The second division had 3 brigades with 6 batteries and a cavalry contingent. So there was more complexity on the red side in terms of the command problem. You see here that the red was broken into 2 sectors. The first division was to defend in the north, the second division in the south. So the plans were briefed to us by the leaders later, and you'll hear a little bit more from the players themselves, were that the first division was going to concentrate on Alt-Goldberg, which was the town to the north. And the second division was going to, as it was briefed, concentrate to the south. They were going to coordinate and then, of course, collapse in on any direction that the blue was going to go, based on whether the blue was going to go south or north. So it was essentially a good plan. The blue idea was an excellent plan. The blue was going to concentrate on Alt-Goldberg at the far end of the line, but first they were going to feint and make it appear that they were going to send a force against the second division and try to pin that in place, hold that second division in place, and then move up and concentrate to the north. Both plans excellently formed, so no problem at all with the plans. At the start of the game, the red started on the road, as you see here. The second division had a cavalry contingent in the front. Its artillery was spread between its 3 brigades. The first division was heading north, as you see, with its cavalry to its front. The 3 divisions of the blue were as you see them, and then they had a larger cavalry contingent. Their artillery was concentrated a little bit more on the 2nd Brigade. By 8:45, which was several turns later, you can see where the yellow arrow is that the feint that the blue commander had planned on was in place. He actually had a portion of those units looking like they were going to try to hold that town while the remaining units began to concentrate on Alt-Goldberg. The second division of the red sent out cavalry to try to determine what was happening, but really the plan was working as blue had anticipated it because the second division was staying in place. As the situation developed, the attack on Alt-Goldberg began. Blue was beginning to concentrate on all of its forces on the first red division. And in fact, you'll hear the red player talk later. A small cavalry contingent was placed in front of the second red division, and it held that division in place for a turn or two. So very effective use of the feint, and it actually held the red division longer than the red division really had wanted it to hold. The problem was the attack on Goldberg and the attack in the center just didn't carry as well. The blue had some terrifically bad luck trying to get those attacks prosecuted. The entire battle, the red first division would have been in real trouble if those attacks had gone more favorably for the blue. The red second division commander decided that it was time to figure out what was going on with that cavalry, so he swept them aside. His cavalry moved into the town, pushing that cavalry away, and the second division began to concentrate. This is where the battle began to swing. That second division came up for the red, and the battle was joined across the entire front. Unfortunately, in Alt-Goldberg in the north, the blue still couldn't push the red out, was having terrifically bad luck up there. So the luck of the situation was just going against the blue, even though they had an excellent plan. Where you see the second division of the red, blue formed a bit of a grand battery there and had a very effective fire that really smashed up the second brigade of the second division. So that was an effective counter there for the concentration of the red forces. But by the end of the game, it was just too late. The second division was able to concentrate on the end of the blue line, shattered them. Alt Goldberg was finally taken, but at such a cost that, and the timing wise, that it wasn't effective. So the blue was not able to actually achieve its objective and hold a portion of the line. So red came out with a victory. Overall, you're going to hear now some of the players discuss the game, and we'll actually switch over now to those portions of the players talking about the game in the after-action review. I do want to apologize to the Red 1st Division commander. His audio was not captured by the fellow player who was recording. The Red Division commander kicked off talking about how he concentrated his forces at Alt Goldberg, and I apologize to him again. We just didn't capture that video. So we're going to start with the briefing of the 2nd Red Division commander.
I don't have Tabletop Simulator. So going from chronologically, I wanted to array my forces like in the center at the square town with the first brigade oriented toward the north, so I could reinforce the 1st Division if I needed to. I thought that there might be action down south, so I sent the cavalry. I sent Stein down south to scout that area and put my 2nd brigade oriented toward the south so I could reinforce them if I needed to. But so I thought ultimately that there was going to be I was bamboozled. That cavalry screening unit, I only saw one of them. Like one little small unit, and I couldn't see beyond it, so I thought there was more, so I wasted a turn, and where I should have probably advanced and inched forward to see what was up. But once Stein came back to me and said, oh, there's no one there, there's no one in Altstetten, I started advancing, and then I got the dispatch from Mark saying that I was in trouble, so I sent my 1st Division up. So I sent my 1st Division... I sent my 1st Division up, and I wanted Stein to come with his cavalry all the way around the flank and use and then use everything to flank all the forces that were attacking Marks. You could kind of see the plan of action in the sketches in the library.
So I had I'm reminded of, I think it was Napoleon who said, I prefer my commanders lucky than good. And I think that we've seen the personification of that quote here today. Nevertheless, the way I put in my commanders, which was another aspect of the game that was not really discussed much so far, was I wanted to exploit two main things. It's communication and initiative. I have commanders with good initiative who would, act when they saw an opportunity, and also have good communication. And so I put my commanders in command of a brigade each, with artillery distributed among the artillery. No, artillery distributed among the infantry. That's what I meant to say. So I had a new player, Louis, who I don't think is here right now. I think he left because it is late for him in the UK. But he was a new player to this, and I wanted him to have an easy job, so I gave him what I thought would be a simpler objective, but turned out to not be. He was in command of 2nd Brigade, Blue 2nd Brigade, and was the one who basically pulled the 2nd Division basically stalled them for 30 minutes. That worked perfectly if luck had worked on our favor. But yeah, I think the plan was solid, but as I said before, luck was not on blue side. So overall, I did have fun. This was an enjoyable experience. Again, turns were a bit long, but I think we tried our best. But yeah, it was hard fought.
It was a good plan. It really does show you how much luck plays a role in all these things. So,
Based on the result, it seemed like we had a pretty sizable advantage on the assault in the center. Were we also rolling pretty badly to try to take the hill there, or was that just dust in the film?
Say I rolled a 1 for you.
I would say generally the answer is yes. It was just such a string of bad luck. It offset a lot of the numerical advantage. The numerical advantage came in two ways. One was that you had actually more experience and stronger troops in terms of their combat capabilities, but also each of your divisions had more regiments than the Red, so you physically had larger sized units. So.
Okay, so pretty unlucky.
Yeah. That's right. Let me run through the umpires real quick to give any comments, and then we'll go through the players for some last ideas. Pavilia, your thoughts on the game?
Well, I was primarily umpiring up in the north because I was covering Red's first division. Again, want to reiterate that it was an incredible string of I don't want it to sound like it came down to just luck, because it was very solid tactical positioning to set up the defence like it was. But the fact that the defence held for so long and managed to bloody so much of that blue force was just... There were no times we switched which umpire was rolling to see if it was just one of us that was cursed. Yeah. And then... I think there was we had a relatively new player up there acting as chief of staff of the second division, and that was very much a good game. Running about from place to place and managing to do some quite decent damage by getting cavalry on some unprotected artillery at one point. Very hard battle.
Yeah, it was well done. Ethan, do you have any thoughts from your perspective?
Yeah. So I was the goofy blue player umpire in the center/south of the map, where the battle along that little hill and some road. Honestly, I was stunned when blue went south and then immediately went northeast, and effectively completely forgot that they had a single cav unit. Like they forgot they had a cav unit, and it apparently just managed to delay the Reds for like at least 30 minutes in game, which was amazing. Pure luck there. But then I guess all of that took their luck, because then they started rolling really bad in almost everything but a few shootouts here and there, and their grand battery. In fact, I think in the turn before we ended, I actually rolled a nat 1 in their main melee, and it shattered so much, and they only barely saved it because they ordered units in support. Honestly, I think if the Blues had just a little bit more time on their hands with the Reds being delayed or something rather in the south, then they probably might have just pulled it off, but it was just unfortunate.
I really like this game.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I would say, just as the last umpire thought, and then we're going to go down the list and get thoughts from everybody, is that all the plans were great. Everyone tactically executed really well. A couple of things could have been tried, but even the I can't point to one thing to say this was a mistake. So sometimes the gods of war just don't smile on you. So everybody should feel good about their planning and execution today. I'm going to go down the list as I see it on here, not in any particular order. Art Park, you had a chance to chat. Do you have any other thoughts on the game and how'd you enjoy it?
It was pretty fun. The turns seemed a little longer than what I'm used to in these live games. So like I was usually, I don't know, 15 minutes, but it seemed like we are going for 30 at this. So I was able to get quite a lot of chores in. So thank you, I guess.
Well, we're here to assist you with chores, so that's great.
Yeah, that's anyway. I mean, I wish the result was better, but it is what it is. So I feel like tactically there were. I wouldn't really change much, if anything. If we were destined to fail, then we were destined to fail. I thought our leader had a pretty good plan going into it, and it was pretty fun. Yeah.
Cool, fair enough. Schmidt or / Blizzard, one of your early games, we really love the fact you came along. Did you have any thoughts?
I was really, how do I say this? Worried about losing units, so I played it as safe as I could. I don't even know how I managed to kill 2 artillery pieces with my cavalry units, but it worked, so I'm happy with that. It was a lot of fun.
Great. Well, we're glad. We hope you come back and play with us some more. It was nicely done today. Andrew Shura of the Cav, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it was a fun game. Unfortunately, we did roll really bad, but I think me and my teammate did pretty good. I think we did ultimately break them, so that is a good result in my book. Yeah, I had fun.
Good. Glad you came out today. Aiko, what do you think? The cavalry commander at the last minute came in from the rear.
Yeah, it was fun. In the beginning, I didn't have a proper map. I don't know. It was a bit. So maybe you should think about distributing it to all the team players. But yeah, someone posted a better one than later, and I could start working. And yeah, showing up in the rear, that was very fortunate, and I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Great. Appreciate you coming out. Commander Vogt, 3rd Brigade, what do you think?
That would be me. I was in the lucky position that I didn't have to do a lot of tactical finesse because I was just throwing my entire infantry brigade at this Alt Goldberg hill town. And once all artillery was deployed, all infantry was in assault columns. There was just pushing and hoping, which in the very end succeeded. But as we have already heard, too late to actually make the day. It was a really fun game. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming out. I appreciate it. Wolver, you joined late, but we tried to get you in there. Tell us you'll be our last participant. Tell us your opinion.
I think it was quite fun. I enjoyed fighting 3rd Brigade on the enemy because I felt like I was going to crumble at the very start when I saw so many units, and luckily I just managed to survive until the very last turn. So thank you for the game.
Pending any of the last comments, I really appreciate everyone coming out. I know there's a lot of folks. This is later in the day for them and on a Saturday. So a great spirit, nice patience getting organized, and patience with the turn length, etc. I really enjoyed putting this together for you guys and helping run it. Umpire crew specifically, thanks so much for volunteering and being part of it. I really appreciate it. But this concludes our Saturday live event, the solution to problem 74. Thanks so much, everybody, and we'll call it at that.